Matt Braley just basically broke the internet for every fan of his show. He recently shared some huge secrets about things he had to keep quiet while working with a giant studio. Everyone is obsessed in finding out what really happened behind the scenes, and get this, the truth is way crazier than the rumors. We're talking about secret trailers, hidden languages, and characters that almost didn't make it. It is not that simple though, because there is a whole world of hidden lore buried deep into the archives. You won't believe what was almost different. Basically, one of the most overlooked aspects of making a hit cartoon is the constant battle between the creator and the people in charge. Matt Braley, the person who made the world of frogs and adventure we all love, recently hopped onto a massive online forum to answer questions. This happened around April 2nd, 2026, and the community of 269,000 members went wild. He was there to talk about his new books like the 10-issue miniseries called Strange Voyage and his spooky new series Claire and the Below. But what most people do not realize is that he used this time to spill the tea on some heavy stuff that happened years ago. Hands down, the biggest bombshell was about who was supposed to be unalived in the story. For a long time, fans thought the stakes were high for everyone. But Matt revealed a key detail. He said that early on, only a character named Grime was planned to be a sacrifice. In the world of the show, Grime is a tough toad warrior who becomes a mentor and a friend. The creators said they originally wanted him to go out in a blaze of glory to save the others. They even funneled all that intense energy into an early episode to show how another character, Sprig, disliked him. It was a way to build up the drama before the big final moment that never actually happened. See, in the version we watched, Grime survives even though he goes through some big changes. A lot of people are confused about why this is such a big deal, but it shows how much control the studio has over the ending. Usually, big networks do not want to see main characters gone forever because it makes it harder to sell toys or make spin-offs. They like things to be a bit safer for the younger viewers. Even though the show had some dark moments like a character getting hurt by a glowing sword, Matt had to play by the rules. By focusing the danger on Grime and then changing his mind, the team kept the tension high enough without crossing any lines. It is a key detail that changes how we look at the final battles of the series. Many are not seeing the truth here about how much the story was softened. If more characters had been lost, the whole vibe of the finale would have been much more heavy and sad. Fans on the internet have already started writing their own versions of what that darker timeline would look like. They imagine a world where the war for the magical land felt even more dangerous and costs were permanent. But here's the catch. Matt managed to tell a deep story even with those hands tied behind his back. The crazy part is that this was just the beginning of his secret struggles with the network. Wait until you hear how Matt actually tricked the studio to show off his new project. So here's the deal with the next big revelation Matt dropped during his talk with fans. He brought up the teaser trailer for his new graphic novel series, and what he said next left everyone stunned. He told the crowd that he actually produced that entire trailer with his own money and released it without any official approval or review from the big studio. For starters, that is almost unheard of in the world of professional animation. Usually, every single frame and every single word has to be checked by a team of lawyers and marketing experts before anyone outside the office sees it. But Matt felt so strongly about his vision that he decided to go rogue and do it himself. The trailer itself was super creepy and showed versions of the three main girls that looked like clones in a laboratory. It had a very different vibe from the bright and fun world we were used to seeing on TV. It looked more like a science fiction horror movie with experiments happening on a base on the moon. By putting his own cash into the project, Matt was able to show the fans exactly what he wanted without anyone telling him to tone it down. This is one of those times where a creator chooses their art over the corporate rules, and it really paid off because the fans loved it. It showed everyone that the story was moving in a much more mature direction. One of the most overlooked aspects of this move is what it says about Matt's relationship with the company. Even though they are still publishing his books, he clearly wanted to have more freedom in how he talked to his audience. He has even started his own studio now called Fantasy Project so he can make his own rules. This trailer was like his way of saying that he is in charge of his own ideas now. It makes the upcoming 10-issue series feel even more special because we know it is coming directly from his heart and brain without being filtered. The drama is real when you realize how much he risked to get that footage out there. A lot of people are curious if there will be any trouble because of this, but it seems like Matt is focused on the future. He is using the success of his show to build a bridge to his new independent work. This kind of bravery is exactly why the community stays so loyal to him after all these years. They know he is willing to fight for the stories they love, even if it means opening his own wallet to make it happen. It is a bold move that shows he is done hiding his true intentions from the world. There is a secret code hidden in the studio vault that no fan is allowed to see. Everyone is obsessed with the mysteries of the show, especially the strange writing found on the walls and in secret books. Fans have spent thousands of hours trying to translate the symbols used by the frog people and the ancient beings. During the talk, someone asked if there was an official way to read everything or if the symbols were just random drawings. Matt confirmed that there is absolutely an official translation key that explains every single letter and word of the language. But get this, he also said it is buried deep in the studio archives and they will not let him share it. He even added a little laugh at the end, which shows he thinks the whole situation is pretty ridiculous. This is a classic example of something they made him hide for no real reason. A full key would let fans read every background detail and understand the lore on a much deeper level. It would explain the history of the magical gems and the origins of the flying castles in a way that we have never seen before. Instead, the company has decided to lock it away like a secret treasure. Some people think they are saving it to sell in a book later, but others believe it is just some corporate red tape. It is frustrating for the people who have been trying to crack the code for years to know the answer is just sitting in a folder somewhere. The crazy part is that Matt actually encouraged people to keep trying to decode it on their own. He likes seeing the community work together to solve puzzles he left behind. Even without the official key, fans have managed to figure out a lot of the basic stuff, but there are still many rumors in the air about more complex sentences. There are carvings in the secret underground caves that still remain a mystery to everyone. Knowing that an official guide exists but is being kept secret only makes the fans want it more. It creates a sort of lost media mystery that keeps the conversation going. What most people do not realize is that these hidden languages often contain spoilers for things that were supposed to happen later. If the fans could read everything, they might find out secrets about the world that were meant to be revealed in a fourth season that never happened. The language is like a map of Matt's original plan before the studio started making changes. It is a piece of the world that exists in its purest forms, far away from the eyes of the public. The real inspiration for the show's biggest villain is way scarier than a simple monster. Nobody expected this to happen, but Matt finally revealed the real inspiration behind the show's scariest villain, the Core. He said he modeled the evil hive mind after the Umbrella Corporation from the Resident Evil games. If you know anything about those games, you know they are all about creepy experiments and companies that do not care about people. Matt explained that the villains in this show were basically doing the same thing. They were up on a base on the moon, trying to push the limits of life and figure out how to live forever by moving their brains into different bodies. He even joked that it is probably what some modern tech billionaires would do if they had a moon base today. This reveals a key detail about why the villain was so obsessed with a character named Marcy. They wanted her brain because she was smart and they wanted to use her to keep their own consciousness going. It turns the villain from a magical monster into a high-tech nightmare. Matt also mentioned that because of the rules at the studio, they had to be very careful with how they showed injuries. For example, they couldn't show red blood, so they made a story about nanobots so they could use green liquid instead. It was a clever way to follow the rules while still making the show feel intense and dangerous. Some of the ideas Matt had were even more extreme, and he described them as being too metal for a kid's network. They were plans for injuries that were much more graphic, but they had to be dialed back to keep the show's rating. This shows that in his mind, the world of the frogs was always a bit more dark and serious than what we saw on the screen. He wanted to capture the feeling of a survival horror story where the heroes are always just one step away from a big problem. By connecting it to a famous horror franchise, he is giving the fans a glimpse into his true creative process. The Core is easily the most complicated antagonist in the whole series because it represents a mix of old magic and scary new technology. It is a warning about what happens when people get too much power and start treating living things like science projects. Now that Matt is working on his own horror series, we can see where all these dark ideas are going to end up. He's finally able to show the kind of monsters he was dreaming about while he was working for the big studio. The creator is leaving the big networks behind to start a whole new world of spooky stories. It's not that simple just to walk away from a big job at a major studio, but Matt Braley is doing exactly that. He is taking everything he learned and starting his own path with a project called Clara and the Below. This is a gothic horror story that sounds way different from the adventure show we know. It is about a girl who has to go into a scary underworld to save her family and deal with her own bad memories. It is a dark version of a classic fairy tale, and it shows that Matt is ready to tell stories for an older audience. He is using things like crowdfunding to get the money he needs so he does not have to answer to any executives. This move is a huge deal for the animation industry because it shows other creators that they can be successful on their own. A lot of people are tired of the same old stories and want something fresh and a bit more edgy. Matt's new studio, Fantasy Project, is his way of making sure he never has to hide his ideas again. He can show all the drama, the horror, and the deep emotions that he had to keep in the shadows before. The fans are already showing up to support him because they trust his vision and want to see what he can do when he is totally free. One of the most overlooked aspects of this new chapter is how much the original show's heart is still there. Even though the new story is scarier, it still focuses on characters and how they grow through hard times. Matt is just changing the setting from a world of frogs to a world of shadows. It feels like he is finally able to be his true self as a director and a writer. Hands down, this is the most exciting time to be a fan of his work because we are seeing the birth of a brand new universe. He is proving that you do not need a giant company to make something that people will love and remember for a long time. Looking back at the whole journey, it is clear that the secrets he revealed were just the tip of the iceberg. There is much more to learn about the world he created and where he is going next. He is still interacting with the community and giving them hints about the mysteries that are still locked away in the archives. As he moves forward, he is taking his fans with him on a strange voyage into the unknown. The story of the creator is just as interesting as the story he tells on the screen, and we are all waiting to see what happens next. Do you think creators should always share their secret original plans, or keep the mystery alive? Tell us your thoughts below, subscribe for more lore, and hit that like button, right now.